Hey Stampers, Diane Dimich here with DDStamps.com, and I want to welcome you today to my online workshop where I'm going to be talking about blendability, or Stampin' blends. Sorry, we know that we used to have blendabilities. Let me just make a quick run around. I got to get some of my tapes shut down so I don't take too much bandwidth. Anyway, I want to welcome you here tonight. I do have some fun projects planned for you. I love the Stampin' blends. I absolutely love the blendabilities and was brokenhearted when they left. But Stampin' blends are back, and I'm very excited about them. So I think I got everything going. Might have started just a wee bit early just because I wanted to make sure it was working. Now, I do believe that I can see myself on or hear myself, so I'm sure you can too. If you can, give me a shout out. Let me know that you're out there. I'll kind of check around, but I have a feeling you can hear me. Yeah, oh, wait. If you have time, can you explain how to use multi-purpose adhesive sheets? I just purchased the Happy Birthday Thinlet and wanted to use the adhesive. Sure. Lydia, let me write that down so I don't forget, but I will show that. I actually just explained that to my sister today. She asked me about those. So I will see if I can find them. I'm sure they're here somewhere. And I will try to, I'll try to show you. Even if I can't find them, I can still tell you how to use them. Cool. Jimmy, you can hear me over there on YouTube. So I am streaming live from YouTube. I'm not seeing anything. Oh, there we go. Perfect. So it sounds like people can hear and see me. Okay, so the issue is tonight we are having a snowstorm here. We probably got 6 to 8 inches of snow today, and they think we'll get more overnight. So I may lose people just because of a bad connection, but I'm going to keep going because it'll tape it, hopefully, and we will get everything done. So before I begin, I'm going to go ahead and pull up my screen. And just to let you know that if you are having issues, if you're dragging or if it's lagging behind, if you look at this arrow right over here, that is the arrow, that little gear right there. That can change the speed of the download and upload speeds for you, and it might make it easier for you to see. So if you click on that, the higher the number, the better the picture. Sometimes you don't even have to mess with it. Let's go back. I missed one. Okay, so at the bottom there, darn it. Oh, well. Questions. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to ask them. I try to keep tabs, and I will be checking because I've got people on YouTube, Facebook, and my website. And so I have to keep checking around. So down in the other corner on the left-hand side where it has that arrow right there, right here, and it says, that little box says auto refresh comments. If that little box is checked and you're in there typing a comment on Facebook, it automatically refreshes every 90 minutes or 90 seconds, and it doesn't really matter where you are typing. If it refreshes, you're going to lose it. And I don't want you to lose your comment. So if you just click off that, type in what you want to type, you can always go over to this part over here and refresh at any time. I think that's it. So if you have questions, feel free to ask. I do have some people that sent some questions in, and I want to welcome everybody. Got people from all over, even Puerto Rico. Welcome, Carmen. I hope things are okay down there for you. You obviously have internet at this point. Kelly, my next Stampin' weekend is not going to be, I think it's going to be in March. I will get that information. So got people from Minnesota. I better check my website too. Yeah, snow. I mean, no, it's not the first snowstorm we've had, but from the looks of the forecast, this winter could be here, which is fine. It's that time of year, and in a couple weeks our ski area will open up. So we want the snow anyway. It is what it is. Okay, I just figured out my phone is kind of messed up. Just a second. Yeah, it looks like my phone's going to be messed up. Hopefully I'll be able to oh, I am. Perfect. Okay, looks like Anita and Mary and Diane are all over on my website. Good, and they can hear me, so that's good. I'm going to just quick check messages. Cool. Cool. Everybody sounds like everybody can. Louisiana is in the... Perfect. Okay, so some of the questions I had today were, how do you re-ink a Versamark ink pad? And can I just use glycerin? You know what? I don't even really know what glycerin is. I know it's used for like in blender pens and stuff, but I never do it. I just use a Versamark ink refill. And that's how I re-ink my pads. And we sell that with the Versamark. There's a refill pad or a refill bottle. So that's what I would use, Anita. As far as storing my bits of paper, I store cardstock pieces that are big enough to punch or bigger. I don't keep little tiny pieces. And I just have like a 4-drawer, it's just a chipboard thing that I got at Target years ago. It has 4 different drawers, and I keep one for each of our color families. So subtles, regals, brights, and neutrals. And then I usually try to dig through that when I'm looking for a smaller piece than half a sheet of cardstock. Hope that makes sense, Anita. How do you unbend a die that is bent out of shape? I have never had that happen. Now, one of the things that might be happening, if you've got a die that's being bent, you want to make sure that when you're using your clear plates that you're flipping them around, turning them around so that that die is not constantly always being bent. It sounds to me like that might be happening with the precision plate, and you want to make sure when you're using that precision plate that you're only using dies that are really intricate. If it's a framelit, which has big spaces around it, just use your regular Big Shot platform or the magnetic plate. And how to repair Stampin' Up! Punches that stick. Well, the easiest, what I have done is I have used them with wax paper to make them unstick. Sometimes if it's really stuck, it might just be time to replace it. I guess it depends. If it's one of the Stampin' Up! Ones, make sure that it's not out of, make sure that it's not, that maybe you can exchange it. That's what I meant to say. Carol asked, the dogs are here, so you're probably going to hear a lot of jingling. Sorry about that. Carol asked, what makes these pens better than the blendables that I bought? Your blendabilities are fine, Carol. If they're working for you, that's fabulous. Stampin' Up! Had a manufacturing issue with them, and they pulled them from the market a couple years ago. And they're back. They're alcohol pens. They're just exactly what you have, Carol, maybe in a couple different colors. And you can still use the ones you've got. Everything I'm going to show tonight, Carol, can be used with the pens that you've got. The difference is that the blendabilities came with a set of 3. These come as either individually or a set of 2. Much easier to use as far as you don't have 3 pens to deal with. The other thing that's nice is if one of your pens runs out of ink, you can just purchase an individual pen, and I love that about that. Blendabilities were never offered that way, so that's the big difference. Oh, she has a die that a friend ran through my machine with the die on top without a plate over it. It's bowed terribly. I wonder if you put it between 2 plates, well, the other way, whichever way it's not bowed, so that the bow goes up and ran it through, if that would help flatten it. I would try that and see if that works. Yeah, I think if your dies connect with the that roller that's inside that can get bad. I'm sorry to hear that. So tonight we're going to talk about the blendabilities, and these are them. This is the colors that you get. There's lots of different colors, and I'll kind of go through some of that stuff. That didn't work, huh? Gosh, if anybody has any ideas out there on how to flatten a metal die, just give me an answer if you know. I will look it up though, and I can try and get a hold of you afterwards if I find a way. Sorry to hear that happen. Okay, so blendabilities are great. The top row here is the Bermuda Bay, Calypso Coral, Cherry Cobbler, Crumb Cake, Daffodil Delight, Nighted Navy, and then our lifter, which I'm going to talk about tonight. And then the bottom row is Old Olive, Pink Pirouette, Pool Party, Pumpkin Pie, Rich Razzleberry, Slate, and Ivory, and then I'm going to forget one. Ivory and bronze. Yay! I remembered them all. Anyway, those are the colors that we have right now. Hopefully we'll be getting more. That would be cool. These are enough for me right now. I really had a lot of fun, and it's brought back some coloring. A couple other things I'm going to talk about tonight is this kit called Oh So Happy, or So Color Me. Oh, good gosh, sorry. Anybody else getting sick out there? This is a kit that is available right now. It's a great kit because it is got a great stamp set and then products that you can actually use with your blendabilities, and it will make you look like you know what you're doing. Make it easy. But let me go back. Let me scooch out screens here, get back to my other screen. I'm going to pull up my screen where I'm stamping. Yay, it came up. That's always good. And we're going to go through these blendabilities. Good gosh. I'm going to have a hard time tonight. Hey, first I want to show you this card I got in the mail. I always love when I get happy mail. And this came from Emily Barnes. Sent me this. Thank you, Emily. It's a beautiful thank you card. My future daughter-in-law laughed because she said, hey, you got a thank you. Or a thank you. I sent a thank you and she sent me a thank you back. That's always nice. So just quickly, I just dumped everything. Okay, well, everything was kind of organized. Talk a little bit about the Stampin' Blends. Here's my colors. I've got my color lifter at the end here, and then all my colors in a row. Just because it's so pretty, I had to show them to you. I sent out these little brochures to many of you that you should have gotten them. I sent them out late last week, maybe not even till Saturday. So hopefully you're starting to get them. But this is all about the blendabilities and how they work. It's got little instructions in there. Then I talked about the kit. And so this is the stamp set, Color Me Happy, and this is a kit that you can purchase to make 16 cards. And I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. And then all your colors of blendabilities, and you can see that, or Stampin' Blends. I'm probably going to call them blendabilities just because that's what we called them for so long. Stampin' Blends, so you can get them in the different colors. You can purchase them just the light marker, the dark marker, or the combo pack. And so they're $4.50 a marker, which actually for alcohol markers is a pretty good deal. And you can also get them as the whole kit and caboodle. So you get all 26 colors plus a color lifter for $121.50. It's a pretty good deal. And then, like I said, the Color Me Happy kit and the project kit and the stamp set. You will need a memento ink. This is a dye ink. It's fade resistant. It works with the blendabilities. And you do not want to use our regular Stampin' Up! Archival ink because it will smear. This is a water-based and these are alcohol-based, and so they don't interact with each other. So this will stay, as long as this is dry, it will stay clear. Hope that makes sense. I like to use, you can use Whisper White cardstock with them. You can use just your regular Whisper White. You can use Shimmer White. I've actually pulled some out. Craft looks cool. I pulled some of these out because I haven't played with them yet and I wanted to play with them. The other thing that we have is this Designer Series paper, which is, oh, there's a bug on them. Sorry, gotta get it out of there. Nobody wants a bug on their markers. This is the Color Me Designer Series paper. So I'm going to show you some stuff with that too. Let me show you the kit quick. Just what you get with it, because the cards are, of course, much prettier in person. So this is one of them with the two little birds. And everything you get, everything comes in that kit. So you get even the sequins and the baker's twine and the stickers and everything. But just a really cute little card. What the markers that they used with this kit, you would get it. Pool Party, Pirouette Pink. And so I'm going to pull those out. Or it's in that card. This card uses the pinks, the pink pirouette. And again, you get tape and the card bases and then envelopes. Except that one doesn't go with it. See, it dropped, so everything fell on the floor. Oh, here we go. That one goes with that one. So these fancy envelopes that go with the cards. You get 4 of each card. This one's cool. This is the balloons, and then you got little, I was gonna say pom-poms, but that's probably not what I meant. And then envelopes, and then you can see the gold stars. So lots of fun, just a good way to practice with these blendabilities. And then the last thing is this little thank you card, which just uses a basic coloring technique using the Night of Navy. This one has pumpkin pie too. So these would be the blendabilities that you would need to complete this kit, just so you're aware. Okay, so now let's get to work in here. So I'm going to do the flower that's in the stamp set. This is the stamp set. You can see all those little stamps there. We're going to use a couple of them tonight. But I'm going to show you this particular one with the flower. And this one uses pinks. So I did these two flowers differently, and actually they look exactly the same. So there is no right or wrong answer with the blendabilities. Some people like to do the dark first and then bring in the light pink, or the dark color and the light color. Some people like to do the light color and then the dark color. I'm going to show you both. So I'm going to come in first. I'm going to get kind of down here so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to do some of this dark pink right in the middle of that. And then I'm going to come in with your light pink. And you can see how you just do a kind of a swirl. This is really light. But you can see it starting to move a little bit. I'm not going to make it perfect because it doesn't have to be. And then if you want it a little bit darker, come in with a little bit darker. So you get a brush end on one side and a bullet point on the other. The lids are kind of strong because they need to be, because you want to make sure that alcohol doesn't evaporate. One thing with alcohol markers is that alcohol evaporates quickly. And so that's why you want to make sure you don't leave the covers off. I'm just going to put some color down. And then again, I can come in with the pink pirouette and just kind of go right around the edge. And I'm kind of swirling around like in a circle. And that kind of blends it out. It blends in that line. Of course, now the dogs decide that they want to go up. That is dark to light. Then you can come in also if you want. Let's do this one just in light. And I'm just laying down some color. And then I'm going to come in and put in some dark color where I know the shadows are going to be, like in between the petals, your edges. And then once I've got that done, I'm just going to come back in with that pink pirouette. Just do a circular motion around. I said it doesn't have to be perfect, but they really make it easy, I think. Anyway, as they dry, you can see it will go through the back, so you want to make sure that you're using something on your surface of your table. But that's just a really quick, fast, easy way to use those blenders. I'm going to show you how I did this one. So this was that thank you that was all done in blue. So it was done with the pool party and it was done with the Night of Navy, just straight coloring. Nice thing about these, when you're just doing straight coloring, you don't get any lines. So you know how with a marker you get streaks or lines? With the alcohol markers, you do not. So what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to take these four. I'm going to show you quickly how you can blend them to make like an ombre look. So I'm going to start with my, try to remember how I did it today. I believe I started with my lightest yellow. And I'm going to go ahead and use the bullet point this time, just because that's not very, it's not a very big line that I'm coloring in here. So I just went around and I laid down my first color. Now, one of the things you want to be careful with the alcohol markers is that if you leave it in one spot very long, you're going to end up with a puddle of ink. It's going to spread out. So when you're doing things that are in lines like this, you want to make sure that you don't keep adding a whole bunch of ink, because pretty soon it'll bleed right outside of your lines if you're laying down too much ink. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so first I did my light. Then I'm going to come in with my dark. And I'm going to leave. So you see how I'm just going to do dark up to a point. Maybe a little here, and then here. Okay. And then maybe a little there just because I can. Once I've done that, I'm going to come back in with my light, and I'm just going to blend in that where they meet. And it just mixes those colors up a bit. And then I'm going to come in with my light pumpkin pie. And I'm going to add some of that in there. Let's see where I can put some right there. Once I've got that, then I'm going to go back to the top where that pumpkin pie meets and just use a little bit of the darker of the yellow. That makes sense? And then I can always go back in, and I'm going to take just a little bit of my dark pumpkin pie and fill in the bottom here. And then you have an ombre look. And you can see that it doesn't really take a ton of time. And then come back in with your light, and then just blend those up a little bit. Like I said, you don't want to get so much color on there that it's bleeding out outside the edges of your stamped image. I'm going to bring in a little bit more yellow just to blend this in here. Kind of fun. Anyway, super easy. Looks totally different than the upper one. See the upper one that I just took the pumpkin and I outlined it. But I might leave that one just the way it is. But you can see how you get that ombre look where it you know, goes from the orange all the way up to the yellow, and you can't really see the lines. They're really faded out. So that's great. The other thing is the color lifter. I don't see where I went out of the lines there. Maybe I did. I'll do it on something else. I wanted to show you quickly with that color lifter. No, I didn't even do this one, but I'll put a little outside the lines here. We'll just do this. Let's pretend I'm coloring, and I went, and you see I got that little bit right there. Right there. You can't see it, but there's just a little bit of pink. Now, if I take the color lifter and I just color right there, it erases it. It doesn't really erase it. What it does is it takes that ink and it kind of pushes it towards this way. So I kind of pushed it towards that way, pushes it back into the flower. I let that dry. If it's a really bad one, you can let it dry and do it over, but you don't want to do it too much or you'll start getting the ink from the flower to bleed out that way. So that's just, it's a great way to just clean up, you know, a little mess or something that you have. Now, another one, a technique that you can do, and I probably should run over and check the, see if there's any questions. I think I will. I'm going to show you a couple other techniques with them, real simple, quick ones. But really, they're just, you just need to play with them. Yeah, I love the little birds too. It's snowing up in Melbourne, Montana. What is the difference between these new markers and the old ones? They're both alcohol-based markers. The old ones came in sets of 3. These come in sets, either individuals or sets of 2. You can, they're basically the same ink. They're just done by different manufacturers. We had a problem with the last manufacturer, and that's why they didn't quite work out like they wanted them to, and so they went away. Okay, so I'm just looking quickly. How do I store my blenders? Right now, I store them in a wooden ink or wooden stamp set box. But I just saw an idea today that I'm going to, as soon as I get this products for, I'm going to make something to put them in. And then I'll show you when I do that. The best way to maintain the fine tip glue. Twice now I have broken the metal post off the cap. Yeah, you got to be really careful. Got to watch when you're putting in there. One of the things I do is make sure that you don't, the fine tip glue doesn't harden inside there, because that will make that will bend your tip. Will they have more colors? We're hoping so, Patty. I hope they do. Okay, so what's the big difference in the blends versus the markers besides the blends are alcohol-based? Are the alcohol markers richer in color? I think they're richer. It's just that they're great because they blend and they don't cause, they don't have streaks or lines in them. I can read comments, but this thing's not letting me load the live stream. I'm going to type in here my website so that maybe she'll catch that. I'm on at www.DDStamps.com, so hopefully she can catch that one there. I feel bad. I think I got, oh, you know what? I forgot to check my, okay, I'm going to go back over, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to check my messages because I don't want to miss anybody over on my website that might have a question. Oh, a whole bunch. Okay. Would it be better if you use the embossing powder than color it? You can. You don't need to. It would keep it in there. One of the things, though, is the alcohol will color the embossing powder. So if you emboss something white, you will end up with colored embossing powder. Okay, so I'm just going to show quickly. I guess I'll do this sleeve. Oh, let me show you the piece. So this is some of that paper that I said, that Color Me paper. This was my very first practice sheet. I did the whole thing. And I actually got my blendabilities, and I took them out, and I just sat down and I colored this. And it took me, I didn't do it all in one day. It took me a couple settings. But I just used the two markers. So, you know, this is the Old Olive, light and dark, and this is the Cherry Cobbler, light and dark, Daffodil, Pumpkin. But once I did this whole sheet, I haven't cut it yet, and I will eventually make something with that. But then I saw another demonstrator, and she had taken colors and mixed colors up together. And so I was kind of playing with that today, and it's kind of fun. So I'm going to take Old Olive and Daffodil Delight. I think I'm going to color maybe this sleeve because it's not so big. I'm going to start with the dark. So this is the dark of the Old Olive. And I'm just going to put some color down. And I'm kind of just going by the artist's rendition here, where they had put, you can see where their lines are. And I could have done this with the bullet point, but I did it, well, maybe I'll add a little bit more. Like I said, one of the things you want to be careful of is that you don't get too close to the edge. And then take that ink right outside there. And then I'm going to come in with my light Old Olive. And again, I'm going to use that kind of a circular motion and blend it all together. I'm going to leave some spots. And then I'm going to come in with, I'm going to go with the lightest, I think. And you can actually add this yellow right into that green, and that will kind of help blend it up a little bit. But it really just gives you a realistic looking leaf. Has a little bit more green. And then some of that great yellow color in there to give yourself, see that? Anyway, it's kind of fun, so you can mix up your colors. That's basically what I'm telling you. So that, you know, I just tried the greens and the yellows. Now the other thing that I'm going to show you tonight is I did this mitten earlier. And I wanted, again, that ombre look, but I wanted to have a lot of different shades. And so I'm going to come in with the Cranberry Crisp and the gray. And what I did is I took the lightest of the gray, and I could have done dark. Oh, maybe I did do dark. I'm going to come in with dark. And I'm just going to put some of that right there where that cuff would be on this mitten. I know it looks weird. And then I'm going to come in with the darkest and go right over the gray. But you can see where I'm getting two different colors. Can you see that there? I blended those together, and then I'm going to come in with a lighter color. And before I get that going too far, I'm going to come in with my color lifter, and this time I'm going to take it and just put that color lifter, can't really see it, but it's at the top of that mitten. And then come in with the lightest of the cherry cobbler. You can see how it lightened it up. And then once I've done that, I'm going to just do a little bit more blending. So I'm going to come in a little more cherry cobbler. And then lighter cherry cobbler. Just kind of blend in that so I don't have lines there. Then I'm going to come in with the color lifter, and I'm just going to kind of blend that in a little bit. See how it gives it a, that stays clean. You can just wipe that off onto a piece of cardstock. I've already got a little bit carried away with the color lifter. Anyway, just gives you that ombre look. And I went from a dark saturated to a light. So by adding in, you know, yellows are good, light colors are good. Yellow's a good one. Gray's a good one. You just get a different look. And then you take that mitten from a dark all the way up to a light color. I hope that makes sense to people. I hope that makes sense. Okay. What is the difference between these new markers and the old ones? Like I told you, it was the manufacturer. How do these markers differ from Copics? I have not played with Copics. I guess I used one once, but what I found was it was a huge learning curve with Copics, and these were not. And I don't know if it's just that it was a large or a bigger learning curve for me. But I find these to be easy because there is not a whole lot you can mess up. Copics have so many different colors that are available and codes that you have to follow. So I don't want to try. People love Copics. I look at Stampin' Blends as maybe those of us who aren't quite the artist but want to look artsy can really easily do it. Hope that makes sense. Why did they go to 2 sets instead of 3? You know, I'm not really sure. They didn't tell us why they went from 2 sets to two markers to 3. But I will say I'm happy about it because it's less of investment. They work great. I didn't find myself needing to have 3 markers when we had blendabilities all the time. The other thing is blendabilities came in only in sets of 3s, and so if one ran out, you had to buy a whole new set. Where this, if one runs out, you can get a second one for You know, you can just buy another one of the one marker that's run dry. And expect them to. I mean, you're going to use them. If you're using them, they're going to run dry. They're not going to last forever. Okay, then there's a conversation about people that are neighbors. Glad to see how to use the color lifter. Didn't know how to use it under the marker. Thanks. Yeah, you can use the color lifter for blending, highlighting, all that good stuff. I am trying to keep up with comments. I think we got it. Uh-oh, did I lose you guys? Perfect. Oh, and I left my phone. Okay. Somebody wanted to know, about the adhesive. Let me go grab the adhesive. See if I can find it. If you have questions, now would be the time to ask. I am going to pull up my email. Okay, so how'd you like this piece of paper that I colored? That was a lot of fun. No, they are not refillable. Jenna asked if they're refillable, and they are not. They decided to do a price point that was good for people so that they didn't have to refill them. It's kind of a messy process. Good. Lots of people are happy about them being back. Right. So the old markers, which are not, they're still around. Let me grab them. These are the markers, the regular markers, and they are water-based. They are your typical water-based markers. And when you color with them, it's actually pretty good. This one's kind of dry, but this is the same color, cherry cobbler. So you can see the cherry cobbler and the tones all work together. Difference is these are water-based, these are alcohol-based. I couldn't blend with these markers. Like I couldn't come in now with, I'll even try them, maybe a tangerine. You're always going to have that line. You see that line? It's just not going to blend like these will blend. Or I could take a piece of Whisper White, grab a piece here, and let's say I was doing dark and then the light. You can see how it starts to blend together. And then I'm going to take a chance on this orange. Really probably going to have to saturate that. Crazy. This was a big hue to go from red to orange. And then come in with my lightest color. And then a little yellow. You can see how they blend together. And what you can do with an image like that. So you can just see how they all kind of blend together. There's a little issue here. We're going from red to orange is huge. But I probably could have used like this color to blend those into a little bit better. And then that just starts the process all over because then you need to add. Anyway, you get the idea. So you can see how you can just make all different colors. Now by taking gray, you take a dark gray, I can change up this cherry cobbler to darker color. You see that? Just want you to see the difference. So By layering it gray under it, you get a little darker tone, a little more burgundy of that cherry cobbler. So lots of ways you can manipulate it and play with your markers. Now the other thing that you can do with the lifter pen, so I could take this and a bullet side and write my name in here. And it's going to take some time, but as that dries, my name's going to show up. I can see it, you probably can't, but by the time we're done tonight, that will probably dry. It's going to take a little while because there's a lot of ink on there. The other thing you can do is, draw polka dots. And you'll see how it pushes that ink away. So you can add texture to your projects. Basically I think I'm going to be able to show you in this gray here what it's doing. So you can see the dots. I don't know if you can see underneath that gray very well, but it's just kind of pushes it out, pushes it away. So now the Sizzix adhesive is this. Here we go. What I found to do with this, especially when you're working with dies, especially kind of the heart, the detailed heart, or a happy birthday. So you're going to take some of this adhesive and a piece of cardstock. You can peel it off here. So you would prepare this before you, oh, I got 2 sheets. That's why I was like, it seemed really thick. Okay, so what you do is you prepare this before you actually push it through your machine. So put your cardstock on there. Like that. I'm going to go ahead, actually, I'm going to scoop this all out. I'm going to go grab a die, show you exactly what it's going to do. Should have looked before I got started. Okay. So I come in here with my die. I grabbed the one from the Flourish, which I can see it has a few pieces left in there from the last time I used it. So let me poke those out. Now the dogs are going to sit right below me here and fight. They don't really fight. They're pretty good dogs. Let me cut this piece of cardstock off of here. So I'm just dealing with the actual piece of cardstock. So you've got your cardstock, your die, and then your lid. You're going to run that through. And this will work with all of your really detailed dies. It works really nice. It seems kind of loose on me. Oh, really, when you're doing this, you should really learn how to use your big shot. Sorry. I was missing the adapter part that goes on top of that. But I'm going to bring in my precision plate, because this is a detailed die. Stick it on there and see, I'm going to save paper anyway there. Whoops. These 2 edges are still sticky. And then I'm going to take my plate over the top. Much better. It actually feels like it's doing something now. Last time it didn't feel like I was doing anything. So with these detailed dies, I like to run them through twice. Just because I want to make sure that I get every part of that die. And when I take this out, it's actually going to pop out pretty easy. I've got a die in here, and when I pull this out, it actually has you can see here. wax paper is getting in my way. Which I can just pull it off, actually. It's easy. So once I do that, then if I pull the backing off here of this, that is a die that has got total adhesive on it. So I could poke those out if I wanted to. But then if I just take this, here I have a piece of paper here, I can go ahead and put it where I want it. It's going to stay. It's not going anywhere. And that die is there to stay. So that's how you use it. You just, like I said, you just attach your cardstock to it, run it through, and then you've got backing to pull off. I hope that answers your question. Let's see. Hey, Freya, must you play with that right this minute? Yeah? Okay, let me pull up my screen. Right, that's enough. Okay, so we talked about the kit that's available. This is November's tutorial. I just finished it today, actually. It uses the Smitten Mittens stamp set and the dies and, oops, and darn it. I got to figure out how to use this. Anyway, the Smitten Mittens, the dies. In fact, I'm going to show you the projects because they're cute. And we always like to look at cute projects. So anybody who places an order with me this month before the 15th, because I do a tutorial. I do a tutorial on the first half of the month, and then I do it on the second half of the month. And if you order from me, you'll get the tutorial. If your order is over $40, then you'll get a kit in the mail from me with all the products to actually make the projects from the tutorial. So let me just show you. This is a cute card. So it actually folds down. It can go into an envelope, and then when the people get it, they can set it up on their mantle or their counter or their desk. But just a really cute card. A little tag, which I'm showing you how to do it so that you have a full tag with a to from and easy. A super easy mitten card. I'm actually going to put something on the inside. I like to put like a piece of Whisper White or something stamped just so that's easy to write on. And then, I don't know if you can see this, but my mittens have a Winkestella and then a rhinestone in them. This is just a fun fold card, so it opens up. Which is kind of a cute card, and I don't know if you can see that, but that's actually a textured mitten. It's got like knitting over the top. But this happened to be my favorite, this little box. The demonstrator shared it on her website, and I just love it. It's super easy to make. Makes a cute little box, and I actually saved 2 little Hershey bars from last night so that I could put them in there. But just kind of a fun little gift to put around your table at place settings or whatnot. So that is the tutorial for this month. Like I said, you'll get the tutorial if you place an order with me. If your order is over $50, you will get the products to make the tutorial. If your order is over $150, don't use the Hostess code. Just go ahead and place your order and you get the free stuff. Don't try to give it to me. I will still send you the tutorial and the packet. Okay. Yeah, I've got my dog, which is the big one. That's Abby, and then my grand puppy, as we call her, Freya. Come here, Freya. Freya, come here. Come here. Come here. Come and say hi. This is Freya, and she looks like Benji. That's who we said last night. She was dressed up as Benji for Halloween. So she's just here for the evening. The kids are bowling. Let's see. Doesn't look like there's any more questions there. Let me check. I've got so many screens open right now. Thanks for clarifying. Sounds like you should try these. I still have the old blendabilities. Will they work with the new ones? Yes, Sylvia, your blendabilities will work. My dogs make me smile too. Yeah, every time I go to do a video or something, Frey likes to play with the squeaky toys. So, okay, so I'm gonna change up screens here because if you have any questions, now's the time to ask. And I'm gonna find my screen. I have so many screens open right now. Like I said, here's the Hostess code. So if your order is over $40, use the Hostess code so I can make sure to get you that goodie packet. If your order's over $150, take the freebies for yourself, and I will still get you the goodie packet. Yeah, Tana, if you're just wanting to do this for fun, that's what I like about blendabilities. They're just super easy. They look cool. And they're fun. So for those of you who don't know, I do have a frequent stamper rewards program. And this is just a program for any order that you place over $50. You will get what is a coin. And then you save your coins. And once you've got 10 coins, you get a free stamp set from me. I have a little form like this on my website that you can go ahead and download and look at it. And hey, Sasha. I just got a message from my nephew. His daughter's watching me tonight. So I just wanted to shout out to Sasha. So it's time for the door prize drawing. And the door prize drawing tonight is a stamp set that everybody wants, but isn't available to everybody. So I'm giving away the Mary Patterns stamp set. So go ahead. There should be a button if you're on YouTube. If you're on my website, there's a link, and there's a link on Facebook or a button to press to get onto the door prize sheet. What happens is it all populates into Google's spreadsheet, and then I pick a number beforehand. So it should look like this is the door prize drawing. And while you guys are filling that out, I'm going to take a quick run around, see if there's any questions that I missed. Cool. If you have a question, now would be the time to answer because I'm getting close to being done, which is always good. Can you hear the dogs? Oh, now I got something going on wrong. There we go. Okay. I'm going to check my phone for last minute questions because we're almost done. Yeah, Karen asked, are the new blender pens equivalent to the dark and medium or dark and light to full blendabilities? Excuse me. I'm gonna grab a drink here. I can't tell you because it just depended on how they blended well together. So I can't tell you if it was everyone's probably different. That's not a very good answer, but that is the answer I've got. Okay, so the blendabilities were alcohol-based, the Stampin' blends are alcohol-based, and just our regular markers, which we still have, are dye-based. Oh, really, it's not hard. The coloring, don't make it harder than it needs to be. Did I miss a question? Lots of love it. Yes, your blendabilities will work with the blends. I just checked today, and the blendabilities, we had Mambo and Coastal Cabana, my absolute favorite color ever. And there was another, oh, Wisteria. Those three colors are not in the blends. Instead, we have Pool Party. Can't remember what else. Pink Pirouette and something else. So yeah, use what you have. Somebody just posted up that they had a die that they broke and Stampin' Up! Replaced it because it was steel and it hadn't. So whoever's die is warped, call Stampin' Up! At 1-800-STAMP-UP and see if they might replace it. Cool. Somebody else has a warp die, but it still cuts good. So I think I got all the questions. Okay, so before we started tonight, I picked a number, a random number. I picked 49. What happens is all these door prize slips go into a Google spreadsheet, and then I go find whoever is on 49. Sylvia Deddy, you won. So you get the stamp set. What you'll need to do is send me a message or an email at diane@DDStamps.com or a message on Facebook and send me your address, and I will get that stamp set out to you. So congratulations to you. I better write that down. Did I miss anything? Because I'm getting close to being done. I'm going to lose my voice here shortly. Can't find the place where I can enter for the door prize. Should be down in the description on YouTube. I'm sure it's there. Let me check. Yeah, where it says click here to enter door prize down in the description, there's a little link there. If you click that, you're in. Okay, last call for questions. Yes, the dogs are playing tug of war. They do all the time. Shh, that's enough. They do that and they wait for the deer to get it in the yard, and then they go out to chase them. Cool. Okay, well, it looks like I answered everybody's questions. Thanks for coming tonight. I hope you learned something. Don't forget to that fun tutorial that I've got for you. And let me see what I'm doing here. Oh, I didn't know I was on as I'm sitting here petting the dogs. Anyway, if you have no more questions, thanks for coming. I will do it again. Oh, Cynthia says if you pull out the nibs when they dry out, you can add a small amount of alcohol to bring it back to life. Who knew? So have a great night. Thank you for everything. And next week I will be in Salt Lake City at a conference. Hard to believe, but I'm going to be learning all about the occasions catalog. Crazy. We're just getting geared up for Christmas. So anyway, I hope you all have a good night. Thanks for coming, and I will speak with y'all soon. Thank you.